Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Today, after the old day job, I am off to check out the new horror thriller, Locked. Locked stars Anthony Hopkins, Bill Skarsgard, and Ashley Cartwright. It's also directed by David, I'm hoping I get this right, Yarovsky. If you know that name, by the way, he's also the director of the movie Brightburn, which I thought was a highly underrated film, but I digress. Anyways, Locked tells the story of a car thief who's just kind of doing his thing one night and happens across a wrong car. This car happens to be a bait car that is owned by Anthony Hopkins. And Anthony Hopkins decides that he is going to take this man on one hell of a ride. Guys, this looks like it is going to be one intense horror thriller, and I couldn't be more excited to go check this film out. So you know what? I need to get to the old day job anyways, so it's enough of me sitting here jibber-jabbering on. I need to get out the door because I got to get to work, and then I'm off to see Locked. Welcome back, just getting home from Locked. And guys, I enjoyed this movie. I thought this was a fun little suspense thriller. So let's get this started, shall we? We're going to get things started with negatives, then move into the positives to end the video on the ever so important high note. Now this film only clocks in at about an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 35 minutes, somewhere around there, but it's not necessarily a long movie. And the pacing didn't have a problem whatsoever. It's just that the story itself probably would have worked better as maybe just an episode of Black Mirror or something like that. I'm not saying that the movie was slow and boring and plotted along, it's just what they used to try to kind of pad the time is something that we've been there, done that before. We're dealing with a younger person who is a thief, a criminal who is trapped inside of a vehicle. Anthony Hopkins is a, well, we suppose, wealthy older man. We have all the evidence that he's wealthy. I mean, he has this fancy car and everything. And so there are moments where the two of them get into class warfare and they discuss the differences of the generations and all. But the film actually does something that I thought was nice, but at the same time was highly irritating. And that's when somebody presents you with something and they start throwing a bunch of stuff at you and they're like, and this is a problem, and this is a problem, and this is a problem. And then the other person goes, okay, well, what about this? This is the reason why this problem started. This is the reason why this is happening. This is the reason for this, and this is the reason for this. And they go, I don't know about that. And it was like, oh my God, the other name of this movie should have just been Okay Boomer, because that is exactly what was going on. I'm old and I'm scared and things are changing and I don't like that. And then you have the young person going, oh my God, just get over it and move on. Get out the way. Let us take over. And it's not that it was necessarily a bad message. It was just, okay, we've been there, done that before. I don't know how else we're going to probably stretch this out a little bit, but please, can we stop this chitter chatter that we're doing here? So the second act of the film does get a little on the irritating side because it does start to kind of dive into the morality and the justification of why this is all happening. Is this moral? Is this justified? Is this actual true justice? There are moments where this comes up where the two of them are talking about these things, where, you know, Skarsgard is talking about it from a criminal standpoint. You have Anthony Hopkins talking about it from someone else, you know, from a citizen's, I guess you could say an upstanding citizen kind of viewpoint to the situation, who's been wronged and blah, 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 blah. And it just seemed like we could have gone somewhere else. I'm not knowing where. I am not a professional film script writer or anything like that, but I just kind of wish we could have had some different talking points in this film. The movie does try to go into another area, but it seems like it really lingers in the okay boomer just a little too long. This film does take place almost all inside the vehicle, so if you're somebody who does get claustrophobic very easily, that might be a problem for you, because the film does a very good job of really making you feel claustrophobic throughout the entire thing. That's not necessarily a negative, that's just letting you know if you're somebody who has some problems with confined places, this movie might really be an absolute nightmare for you. All in all though, guys, negatives aside, I really did have a good time with this movie. And honestly, the negatives that I have to say about this movie almost feels like nitpicking. Because like I said, you've got to fill the time with something. I just wish they would have picked something else in that area when they were trying to justify all of this. But who am I, right? Look at me. I'm almost like Anthony Hopkins, just an old man sitting here complaining about something. So let's move on to what I liked about this movie. Now, as I was saying, I really enjoyed the tension of this movie. This film does not waste time getting you to the good stuff, but it also does a really great setup of getting you to know the type of character that we're dealing with. Bill Skarsgard's character is a criminal, but he's not necessarily a terrible human being. Does the means justify what he did? So on and so forth. Those are things that I really liked about this movie, but it never really quite gets into it. But I really liked the beginning of this film because it showed you that he's not a perfect man, but he's not necessarily a terrible human at the entire time. So that helps you get on his side when things start to go awry. So you're not just sitting there going like, Anthony Hopkins, you do what you gotta do to make this guy feel his justice. And I liked that about the film. The acting in this movie was outstanding. Both of the main actors, Bill Skarsgard and Anthony Hopkins, do outstanding jobs in this film. I was sitting there watching this movie, and it suddenly dawned on me, this is one of the first times in, I don't even know, in a long time, that I've actually heard Bill Skarsgard's real voice. He's not playing a monster or have makeup on or, in some kind of creature costume or in the movie like Boy Kills World. He doesn't even speak. His only thing is an internal voice, and that's not even his voice. It was H. John Benjamin. So it's been a minute since I've actually got to see him speak with his own voice, and to be perfectly honest, he might have been using an accent or something, so I honestly don't even know if it was. But it was really cool to see him come out of the makeup in front of the camera, and he does an outstanding job in this movie. You really get behind his character, you feel all of the stuff that he's going through, and a lot of that has to do with this portrayal of the character from Skarsgard. This character is a very well-rounded, well-developed character, and he did an excellent job with him. Anthony Hopkins does what he does best. He is mostly a creepy voice in this film, and he is outstanding as that creepy voice. One of the things I absolutely loved was how it just seemed like every time he was talking, it honestly seemed like you could hear the happiness in his voice of all of the terrible things that were going on to Skarsgard's character, and I thought that was a neat little tidbit that he threw in there for his characterization. Now, this movie might not be everybody's cup of tea. As I said, this is not necessarily, in my opinion, a slow burn. It's a very tense, stressful film, and all of it does take place mostly in one spot. And one of the things that really amazed me was how good the cinematography was in this film for it being stuck inside of a car. There were some really amazing shots that they got with Skarsgård inside that vehicle. Thankfully, it was an SUV, so there was a little bit of room to move around in, but there was some really neat use of the camera while in there that also helped really drive home that claustrophobia that I was talking about. There's some really cool outside drone shots that give you an idea of just how absolutely isolated he is inside of this vehicle, even though it's in the heart of a major city. All in all, guys, I thought this was a really great get out there and watch it in theaters movie. If it's not in theaters in your area, wait for it to pop up on streaming, because I do truly feel this was a quality quality film. Alright guys, thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell for notifications. I don't know what that means. Get out of here. Ring that bell for notifications and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. If there's one more thing you can do, folks, though, keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.